This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Let's join Kyle and Darren Williams as they discuss the many people who work every day planning ways to control the spread of animal diseases if necessary.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Daren Williams. He's with National Cattlemen's Beef Association Communications Division. We want to talk animal disease control because I'm not sure a lot of the listeners understand that there's a lot of people in the industry and in government that's working toward the control or the outbreak of diseases and what would happen if that were to occur. Can you help us a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's one of probably the most significant issues that our industry faces is the potential for something like a foot and mouth disease or other foreign animal disease to come to the United States. We haven't had foot and mouth disease since 1929. But with the way people travel around the globe these days, and you know, we see stories about things like Ebola and now the Zika virus and the ability to travel, it's something we really need to be prepared for to protect the industry, to protect farmers and ranchers in Kansas and around the country in the event of an outbreak like that. So we do a lot of planning around that effort.
I think the term that we hear a lot is working group. Can you help us understand who all would be in a working group for this sort of a project?
Sure. Let's take foot and mouth disease. We have a group called the Cross-Species Working Group, Foot and Mouth Disease Cross-Species Working Group, and that's cloven hoofed animals. So it's beef, pork, dairy, and the sheep industry that collaborates on that. And then, of course, the government, the federal government and state governments play a critical role in responding to a foreign animal disease outbreak with things like stopping movement and you know, what are you going to do to stop the spread of the disease. So it's a collaboration between those commodity organizations that are heavily involved and have the most at stake, as well as those government entities.
And a lot of us, we take for granted the movement of cattle and hogs and sheep regularly on our highways, but when this sort of thing breaks out, it's a major problem.
Absolutely. The way we produce beef and pork and dairy products in this country today, you know, there's a lot of interstate movement, and we take that for granted in the United States that we can move freely across these borders. But when it comes to protecting animal health and stopping the spread of the disease, because it's a very significant economic impact, potential economic impact, the spread of the disease, you got to stop movement of animals. You know, if you have a processing facility in Oklahoma and then you got the ranch in Kansas or the feedyard, and you're moving those cattle across those state borders, there's potential to spread the disease.
Well, and truly, if it's the middle of July and you've got live animals on a truck, you can't park them alongside the road and discuss it for a day or so. That's
right. I mean, these decisions have to be made fast, and to protect both the animals' health as well as the people who have the economic investment in those animals. And that's why it's so important to do the planning now. You know, one thing from a communication standpoint that I think was critical that we'd be trying to get the message out is that foot and mouth disease is a serious animal health issue, but it's not a human health issue. There's not, your meat and milk is safe. We certainly don't want consumers say we're not going to go to the grocery store and buy beef because of foot and mouth disease. So that there's a communications as well as an operational response plan in place.
It's Daren Williams with National Cattlemen's Beef. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Folks, stay with us after these messages from our sponsors for this week's Kansas Soybean Update.